Mike again from BavhausTV, and today we are in a 2011, I believe, BMW 328xi. It's an E90, and we have a bunch of lights on the dash, the 4x4 light, the ABS light, DSC light, and the brake light, and the service engine soon light. I'm not sure what that's for, but you can also see in the iDrive, it's got all-wheel drive system failure, or shut off. So we have another video on this where that one we ended up exchanging a wheel bearing to repair this issue, but we're going to show you how to diagnose the issue when it potentially can be something else. So let's get into it. So we just pulled over and plugged in our maxi check. We're gonna go through and do a quick scan of the car and see what codes pop up. So interestingly enough, it does say service engine soon on the instrument cluster, but there was pass no fault for DME, which is a little weird. It could be because the transmission control is throwing a code. So for transmission control, we have signal fault, left front wheel, circumferential velocity from DSC. It's a mouthful. Okay, so this is the transfer box. So limp home control activated, no DSC, specified nominal torque, error, receiver, VTG, which is transfer case, transmitter, DSC. So it's basically throwing codes because DSC isn't giving a reading from the front axles. So the transfer case isn't gonna enable the all-wheel drive features on this car because it's not getting a wheel speed. So right here, I'm sure we're gonna see a front and left wheel speed sensor code. This is actually in ABS, DSC. Left front wheel speed supply, left front wheel speed supply. So that's for DSC, they're all present. So it looks like we're not getting any wheel speed from the front left. So what we're gonna do is get rid of this scan tool here. I'm gonna plug in my computer and we're gonna open INPA and try to actually read our wheel speed while we drive. All right, so we just opened INPA. We're gonna go Shift F2, E90 or E9X, go to chassis, and then right here you're gonna see DSC DXC. I'm gonna do that because it's X drive. You're gonna go to read status, so F5, and then analog input F1, wheel speed F1. You're gonna get your wheel speed. And then now we're gonna go and drive. All right, so we're just barely pulling out of the lot where we were just scanning the car. And if you look, our front left wheel speed sensor is just pulling no speed. The rest of them are pulling speed. I'm driving, so I can't really see how similar they are, but they should be.
They're all pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, they should be all the same. So
if not the same.
Our front left wheel speed sensor is this one. It's 0.0, so we know this wheel speed sensor is just dead. It's not picking anything up. So for some reason, it's either not picking up wheel speed off of the pickup on the front drive shaft, which in that case, actually on these I don't think it's the output shaft. I'm pretty sure it picks up off the back of the wheel bearing. There's either some physical interference there, like commonly what can happen is grease from a bad output shaft can get thrown all over the pickup on the back of a wheel bearing, and it will block the ability for this to work. I'm pretty sure these are Hall effect sensors, so it needs to actually magnetically pick up a signal. It might not be able to for that reason, or the sensor itself just has an internal fault and finally died. So we have a used one from a car that we have in the shop, just an E90 kicking around. So we just pulled one off. So we're gonna make this nice and simple and easy. We know that there's an issue there, so we're gonna go look at it. If it needs to be cleaned, we're gonna clean it. And if everything looks all right there, then we're just gonna go and replace the sensor and then try it again. And we'll see if we can get that number to match the rest. All right, so now we got the car on the lift. We're gonna take the front left wheel off. So now that we have the wheel off, we're gonna go to this little box up here. We're gonna pull these two tabs open from the bottom. Watch out if you're doing this from underneath because there's usually a lot of road debris inside and it's gonna get in your face. You'll see it all fall out. So normally, when you do a brake job, you want to take this white sensor out, but since this is a wheel speed issue, it's actually gonna be the blue sensor. You can see all this road debris in there. So you're gonna pinch this here. So you're gonna pull and remove it. And then we're gonna come around to this spot right here. There's a little bracket where this is held in. You wanna grab it from both sides and kind of give it a wiggle. And then pull it from behind. And there's another bracket right up here that we're going to do the same exact thing. This one is the one that connects to the strut, behind the strut bolt. All right, now we're gonna turn this whole thing this way. And we're gonna remove the sensor from up front. So the front wheel speed is actually a pickup off of the axle half shaft. I know in the video before I said wheel bearing. I think the rear is the wheel bearing and the front is the axle half shaft. So it's got those notches in it and that's what this is picking up wheel speed off of. So just looking at it, the notches look good. So that's why we're going after the wheel speed sensor itself. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be going after this with a 5mm hex. Sometimes it's a T30 if it's been updated before, but in this case it's a 5mm hex. We're gonna remove the sensor from this bracket here. We're We're going to put our 5mm hex in like that. I have it with the long extension just so I can give it a tap, make sure it's in there good. You don't want to strip this. I'm gonna take our 3/8 ratchet and crack this guy free. Just like that. All right. So now to remove it, it's gonna be seized in there pretty good. So normally what I'll do is I'll go right to the top and just tap on the sensor right where this metal part is, where the bolt actually connected. And we're just gonna tap it down enough for us to fit something behind and actually wedge it out. So I'm just gonna get some clip pullers behind there, pull it out like that. And that's our sensor. You can see there's a bunch of metal actually stuck to it because this is electromagnetic, so that could be causing the interference. But in this case, we're just gonna replace the sensor. All right, so we're gonna take some penetrating oil just as a lubricant right now. Just kind of clean that out a little bit with your finger. Get it so that it's kind of fully lubricated. We have our sensor from our donor card, and we're going to get that in, kind of get it into place. Doesn't want to go in completely immediately, that's okay. Just get it straight enough that you can start threading your mounting screw in. And then keep an eye on it, make sure it's evenly seating. Ours is pretty rusty, so you're just gonna get this down and just make sure that it's going in on the other side. That's why the lubricant helps a lot. Again, penetrating oil isn't necessarily a lubricant, but it works as one in this setting. It's not that serious. Okay, just give it a final push. Make sure it's nice and tight, don't over tighten this. You can clip this back in up here, like that. And now you can go back up top and reassemble. So now we're gonna quickly show how to reinstall these. You just take this little split point that you removed, push it right back through the bracket. Sometimes they can be a little resistant, so I'll use my palm, like that. This gets routed up behind here. Same thing, you got another spot to put it in right here. And it goes to that back bracket up here. Snaps into place, and then now we're going to go over to this side and reconnect the sensor itself. Alright, so now inside the sensor, you're going to see 2 prongs and a square underneath them. You just want to make sure that this matches up before you go jamming it in. So this has 2 holes in the square underneath it, so just make sure they face the same way. Push it into place. Push this back into its mounting spot. Back it down. Closed. Now we can put the wheel back on. Alright, so we're back inside the car. We just pulled it out of the garage and all of our lights turned off except for our service engine soon light, so we're gonna go take a look at that. But you can see the iDrive and the instrument cluster, DSC, ABS, transfer case, and brake lights all turned off. So that was the fix that was done without any scan tools being connected. The car naturally picked up wheel speed just from pulling out of the garage and cleared all those codes. So that's all fixed. We're just gonna go through and verify what's up with that check engine light or service engine soon light, and then we're also gonna go see if all of those codes are still there and just say absent, because we might want to just clear them up so they're gone entirely. That could also be what's holding on to that check engine light, but we'll go back in here and then we'll pull up INPA on the computer as we drive and show you guys that wheel speed sensor working. So it looks like it's just gonna be those codes saying absent. So it's gonna need this one. Read codes. See, absent, absent, absent. Absent. So we know that nothing here is permanent or present, so everything else is clear in this entire car. Normally if it was my car, I would drive it until the service engine soon light turned off, but since this isn't my car, just in case it doesn't turn off, I'm just gonna clear all these codes because we know that they're all absent. We did verify. It did turn the service engine light off the second we cleared that module. So it is the transmission light that was throwing the service engine soon light, and it was just because there was a code present in that module, which will normally throw that in service engine soon. The transmission stuff does affect emissions. Obviously if your front axle isn't working, it's gonna affect your emissions. This is an N51 SULEV car too, that might make a difference with it. So if you look, this car actually is in pretty good shape. It's not common that you see a car with no faults, and it really is truly a car with no faults in it. So we're gonna get out of this. I'm gonna hook up INPA one more time, show you guys that wheel speed working, and that's pretty much it. All right, one more time, shift F2, chassis, DXC, read status, F5, F1, analog input, F1, wheel speed. I'm gonna give this over to Justin. All right, and as you can see, our front left wheel speed sensor is now giving a wheel speed, and all of our associated modules and systems within the car that use it as an input to work now have the input that they need. So all those lights are gone and everything's working properly. So again, this is the second repair that we have shown on our YouTube channel of how to fix these. There's still a third one that we haven't had a chance to film yet, and that's actually the transfer case module itself, which at some point we will show you guys how to do that. But until then, thanks for watching BavhausTV.